Fun fact, like 90% of Gen Z thinks they're the most traumatized generation. Heh, Gen Alpha is so inferior. They're growing up with Skibbity Toilet and Bluey. They don't know fear like us Gen Zers. We grew up with Five Nights at Freddy's, creepypastas, Bendy and the Ink Machine, Courage the Cowardly Dog, things that never scared us, and instead we just drew endless Tumblr fan art and porn of it. Okay, I definitely angered my people by saying that, but I don't care at this point because it's fucking true and I'm tired of pretending it's not, and if I am wrong here, well, I'm saying this because it applies to me specifically. These Gen Z childhood trauma icebergs are still cool to me because it unlocks some memories that I would have just forgotten, but 90% of that Gen Z childhood trauma stuff never scared me. Not saying all of it, of course, but like pretty much all of it. And that's specifically why I'm making this video, to talk about my childhood trauma. This is going to be stuff that scared me back then, and most of the stuff is really specific. So buckle up, because we have a lot to cover. But before we do, let's get some basic stuff out of the way. Of course, some of that stereotypical Gen Z childhood trauma stuff did scare me. If you watch my channel a lot, you definitely know that old YouTube horror really did it for me back then. I guess I never gave a definitive answer to which one was the scariest, but the three scariest ones were, without a doubt, Obey the Walrus, Poochie and Pansy, and Ingblaf, whatever the fuck. Lost Media also always gave me an uneasy feeling. And there's a whole other topic that definitely scared me a lot back then, but that will get its own video sometime in the future. Okay, let's get into the specific stuff. This video will be split into 3 categories plus an extra entry: movies and TV, miscellaneous, and specific images. We'll start with movies and TV, which all of these are gonna be single scenes rather than full-length stuff, starting with a trailer for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Okay, so I can't find the trailer I'm referencing here on YouTube, but I saw it on a DVD of Age of Ultron. That movie in itself actually scared the shit out of me on my first viewing, but I partially blame this trailer for creating tension. I'll try to describe it. It starts out very slow, and you don't really know what's leading up to, but then, after the slow part, it randomly cuts to this character. Apparently his name is Gordon, and I know nothing about what he does, but my god, look at that! The main thing is, he just pops up randomly with no explanation in this trailer. Where the fuck are your eyes? Anyways, yeah, speaking of traumatic movie trailers, however, we're gonna shift over to a much lesser known movie called, Arthur and the Invisibles. Okay, if you're wondering what you're looking at, I don't fucking know either, bro. I'm pretty sure, however, that this is a movie. This movie is a part of a series where this fucking elf thing. What am I looking at? Even as a child, I was so lost on the plot of these fucking straight to DVD franchise of films. Trailers for these movies were always included on the DVDs I had. This one specifically, I think, was on a 3-in-1 DVD of 2004's Thunderbirds, 2003's Peter Pan, and The Borrowers, whatever that one was about. Skip everything else about this trailer. This specific moment is etched into my mind. I don't know what's happening to the kid here. I think he's transforming into Arthur or some shit. Who knows? But why like this? This has to be some like assassination attempt. What the fuck is going on here? Now, the last one isn't a trailer, and on top of that is a movie I saw in theaters. Star Wars: The Force Awakens. This one is similar to Age of Ultron. One of the previews really fucked me up. It was some alien movie with a specific clip of silhouettes of humans shifting into aliens. Anyways, when it comes to this movie, I'm talking about the one dream sequence Rey has. This scene, for some reason, fucked me up. Something about this 1 second moment of this guy getting sliced was really traumatic. On top of that, of course, the scene where she's getting ripped away from her parents. Despite the fact I used to love this film when I first saw it, I lived in fear of this scene. Now I'm realizing how tame it is. So, the next category is just miscellaneous stuff. Two of these are actually still kind of bothered me to this day. So, I'll start with a really stupid one. The Big Ben prison. This one's pretty simple. I was watching a video called Top 10 Secrets About Places or something, and the number one spot was the fact that towards the top of Big Ben is a secret prison room, and that hasn't been used in like 100 years. Bro, I don't know, but that scared the living shit out of me upon hearing that. Something about just a random prison room in such a famous landmark. I don't know. It really didn't sit right with me. And this proceeded to ruin my whole night. But as a bonus, this actually got me really into Big Ben, and I was obsessed with it for a long time. So getting into two that still kind of freaked me out. I'm not joking when I say this. MK Ultra. I learned about what MK Ultra was through an Iceberg video. I don't think I need to say what it is. There's a good chance you know. This was a decently long time ago, so I'm counting it. But holy shit, that stuck with me. Especially because they were providing images of it. Oh my fucking god, dude. That fucked me up. Just thinking the government actually did that without giving a fuck. Props to learning about this at that age, though, because it sent me down numerous rabbit holes of very questionable things world governments are involved in. And for our final topic, extreme haunted houses. So as a child, I wanted to make a haunted house attraction. And so one day, I was scrolling on YouTube when I found this Watch Mojo video and decided to watch it. This is the worst ranking of all time, by the way. But I found out about some really cool haunted house attractions, and that derailed completely at the number 4 spot when they just out of nowhere threw McCamey Manor into the mix. I don't know how well known this topic is, so I'll explain it. Extreme haunted houses are haunted house attractions where the main fear factor is in the fact that they're actually touching you, putting stuff on you, and usually actually hurting you. You always have to sign a waiver before you go in, and yeah, it's fucked up stuff. I'm not completely against this idea per se. Haunted Hoochie and the 17th Door honestly seem fine to me, but with stuff like fucking Cracked and, of course, McCamey Manor, this should never be legal. I could go on about McCamey Manor, but it's so fucking gross in my opinion. So let's move on to our final topic in this section, which I'll just dub movie trivia. So one night I had family members come down, and my cousin had a game on his tablet where you get an image and a hint and you have to guess the movie. We spent like all night doing this. I actually got the Predator one, which was just 3 red dots in a triangle, and I vividly remember one with a yellow smiley face and a blood drop, which is obviously Watchmen. But there was one where I don't know what movie it was referencing, but it freaked me out for some reason. I can't recall the image that well. I think it was just some thick red lips, but I do remember the text hint, which went along the lines of, "You need to stop crying, or else you'll smudge your makeup." Not only could no one get the answer, but that was so ominous that I just fucking couldn't. I went to bed that night bawling my eyes out because the prompt was scaring the shit out of me for some reason. And I also remember my parents mocking me saying, "Keep on crying, it won't help," or something. And deadass, I responded, "No, because that'll smudge my makeup." Okay, moving on to category 3, images. I have 3 specific images I want to talk about, starting with one that might be lost media. Oh yeah, that's right, I want to enlist your guys' help with finding a YouTube thumbnail. So the video was top 10 worst punishments given to kids by parents. There's like 1,000 videos of these videos, by the way. And the thumbnail is of 2 babies in a black cage wearing blue onesies with their eyes blurred out. I think one is holding a slipper in the photo. I saw this thumbnail as a child and it stuck with me. The blurred eyes kind of made me think they just straight up had no eyes. But yeah. Editor's note. I found it. Additional trivia, though. I created, like, a mythos around these 2 babies called the Punishment Kids and how they were murderers or some shit and lived in an abandoned building. Moving on to our next image. Oh ho. this. If you've been on the internet for a while, and if you're an expert in cursed images, I guess, then come on, you've seen these fucking Teletubby things. I forget the very first time I saw this, but whenever that was, I did stare at it, made a good mental note, and proceeded to avoid that image entirely. Bro, look at this shit. Where are their fucking mouths? This kid looks 3 seconds from offing himself, and I can see why, clear as day. But that's pretty much that. Okay, that was a solid list of stuff that scared me as a kid, and none of these scared me too bad, and only one of them really followed me. Let's see here. Am I forgetting anything? Any other scary images? Oh my god, what the fuck? Okay, context is definitely needed here. If you're wondering what you're looking at, no, it's not Kanye, but this is a very famous photograph called The Hooded Man. So during the Iraq War, it's no secret now that the US did some weird and questionable shit. One of these things were CIA black sites, which were prisoners for prisoners of war only. And one of these sites was called Abu Ghraib, and in 2004, a series of photos were released detailing what they were actually doing to these prisoners. I can't show half of these on YouTube, but I can show the one that scared me the most out of any of these photos, the Hooded Man. I found out about this through this video, which this girl's channel in general fucked me up because her videos are extremely uncensored, but anyways, something about this photo just stuck with me. The whole concept stuck with me, but nothing could compare to this photo. I was so scared of this fucking image, and I ended up getting over my fear via one day just deciding to stare at it until I could tolerate it just fine. There was one point in my life where I saw this image everywhere for no reason, and yeah, pretty weird history. So with that wrapped up, I'm adding an extra entry because this really had an impact on me. Porn. So during quarantine, I started watching a lot more porn in my spare time. I actually didn't know how to masturbate yet, so I would just fucking watch. But one day, I vividly remember a video popping up on my feed called Russian Schoolgirl. It was extremely low quality, but I decided to see what it was, and I wish I never fucking clicked on that video. I can't confirm it, but I'm pretty sure I had just watched Cyberpunk, you know. So that was an experience, but I continued watching more porn in my spare time, and that's where more Cyberpunk videos actually started appearing on the feed. And I was just like, no, I can't, dude. This is fucked up. And because of that, I quit watching porn entirely. I know there's still a lot of people skeptical of Cyberpunk on actual porn sites. And if you are, don't be. Because I can 100% confirm that people are putting Cyberpunk on those websites. So that wraps this video up. Good talk.